Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all, my viewers. Welcome to my channel, my YouTube channel, Celesta Mary underscore RN. I am so excited today, yet to have another moment with all of you. Last week, I had another channel of how I became a nurse. You might just want to go to my YouTube channel and watch the video. Today, I have still some more exciting things for you. And as we begin, let's know what our health is all about. So I'm here, your nurse educator and your nurse mentor, to take you through how you can live healthily and take good care of yourself today. So today I'm going to start by my training on your health is your health. Your health is your health. I know many have been wondering, how can my health be my wealth? In these hard economic times, people are trying to look for money. In these hard economic times, everybody's trying to hustle and get something that they can be able to use as a medium of exchange to be able to get the many things that are available to us. Life has become so expensive. Everything you need requires money. But how true is wealth better than health? That is one question I want to pose to you. Is your health very important more than wealth? If today you are given two questions to ask yourself or two things to choose, what would you choose? Would you choose a better health or would you choose wealth? This is upon you to make a choice. Personally, I would choose health. Is wealth more important than health, or are the two co-independent? Let's find out in today's broadcast. So I would start being a health person. What is the definition of health? According to WHO, there is a definition that health is not merely a state of being physically, mentally, and socially well-being. It is not just the absence of disease or infirmity. So health is not only one thing: mental, physical, social, and absence of disease. But there are so many things that encompass to somebody calling themselves being healthy. I want us to learn from one person who I admire very much, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was very famous. If you mention Steve Jobs with people over in my age and other ages, the first thing they remember Steve Jobs with the Apple phone. He discovered something. He was a billionaire. This billionaire died at the age of 56 years with pancreatic cancer. And in his deathbed, when he was seated in the bed or sleeping in the bed, there are some profound things that he said. Remember, this is a wealthy person, but he said some of these things. I reached the pinnacle of my success in business. In others' eyes, my life was the epitome of success. That I took much pride, and I must to become healthy, to become wealthy. He said that you can employ someone to drive your car. You can make money, but you cannot have someone to bear the sickness for you. These are very profound words from a very famous, wealthy billionaire. And he was not billionaire in Tanzanian shillings, not in Kenyan shillings. This was a billionaire in dollars. And as you can know, right now the dollar rate is very high. To him, he never considered wealth at the time of his death. Being a nurse, I have had experiences with very many people. I've seen patients die. I've seen children die. I've seen youth or young people die. I've seen elderly people die. people from all walks of life. I've seen the white, I've seen the black, I've seen the Indian. You can name it. Different races, different ethnic groups. Many on their deathbeds. Some come on the emergency and they die. But of all the people who die, I've never seen anyone, in my experience, maybe you could have, saying, "Oh, my plot in the US, or the money I've kept in the bank." Most of the people talk about their wealth when they want their children, their wives, or whoever it is they want them to inherit. That is the time you find people calling, and at the time when they're dying, saying, "Please, I have this plot and this plot." But most people, when they're that moment when they're about to die, they never think of how much they have, how much they have amassed. Why do you think so? Because health is more important than wealth. If you have health, you can make wealth. But if you have wealth and you don't have health, you will live, take most of the time in the hospital, you will not have productive years. In fact, why is the government focused on health? Because if you have a healthy population, the GDP, the gross domestic product, will rise. People will become more economically viable. You're able to wake up and go to work. You're able to wake up and see your children. You're able to wake up and go for your business if you are healthy. But if you are neither of those, even if you have so much money, your health, your wealth cannot do anything to you. We've seen people coming, being admitted in the hospital in private units. Some are admitted in the general units. It doesn't matter. All of them pray always and say, "If I could only wake up from this bed." Somebody who is sick, even if you give them a king size, soft, fluffy bed, they will not have the sleep they require. If you are wealthy, you can afford to fly out of the country. But if you are sick, you will not enjoy Dubai. You will not enjoy those luxurious places. So to me, health is wealth. And in this broadcast, I want us to focus on how we can be healthy, how we can be wealthy, and start our process of being wealthy by first becoming healthy. One of the many questions people ask themselves many a times, who is responsible over your health? When I was a young child, I knew my parents were responsible over my health. If I could fall sick, my mom could take me to the hospital. She was like a doctor. She could take chloroquine, give me to swallow as a child. She had injections, she could inject me. She was not a full-fledged doctor, but she had all those equipment. She could boil the syringes and the needles and inject me in the house if she could not afford to take me to the hospital or the hospital was far away. And I knew my parents were responsible for my health. But when I moved to campus in the university, lo and behold, I knew university was responsible over my health. And what did I do? Whenever we could have issues at the university, we know the cover. You're going to the university hospital. And if there would be issues, haki yetu would go to the streets. So that can tell you from alumni of which university. So we tended to believe that, no, the university is responsible, and if we get to the facility, you find that if the things are not there, you complain. Why is our university hospital not like this? Why is the clinic not having this and this? And we'd protest and all. When I moved out of university, I got my job. I started to work. And I looked for a job where I could have an employer who could ensure that my health is taken care of, an employment cover. So I could have a health cover. And at that time I knew, my employer is responsible for my health. And the better the cover, the larger the cover, the better for me. But by and large, as life has gone to be, you realize ultimately you are the one responsible for your health. Your employer may provide the best cover for you, for your children, for your family, but you are the ultimate person who is responsible for your health. And today I want us to choose health so that we can obtain wealth. Life is full of choices. Everywhere you are being asked, choose ye, good or evil. Choose to go and riot or choose to stay at home. The only thing, two things in this world that we are not left with choices is the day you are born. Did anyone apply to be born on, I was born on 14th of April. I never applied anywhere. I never told my parents, by the way, I want you to give birth to me on 14th of April. There is a force, that is God, who is responsible over the day you are born or the day you come into the world. And the other second thing that we are not responsible, we have no choice over, is the day we die. Nobody chooses. And I'm sure if people were given choices, people would make very funny choices. You never make a choice of when you're born. You found yourself born and you keep on telling people, oh, my birthday is on this day. But you have no choice over your birthday. Some people will tell you, I don't know when I'm going to die. But if given a choice, I would rather die in my sleep. Some will tell you, oh, I'd rather be shot by a gun once and for all and I die. But we never choose these two things. Some die of diseases. Some are heart attack and they go. Some is a terminal illness. They stay with cancer in the hospital in tubes until they go away. Some will never see the hospital. They'll be knocked over by a car. The only two choices that we have no control over are the choice of the day we were born and the day we'll die. But in between, it is our choice. Today I want to ask you, or I would want you to make a better choice. A choice to be healthy so that you can be wealthy. I gave an example of Steve Jobs. With all the billions, they were no longer important to him. To him, he felt that life would have been better. If money would have bought somebody to take the cancer, the pancreatic cancer, so that he can live and buy a new body, he could have, but he had no choice. There's another writer called Darren Hardy. He said, you make choices, then your choices make you. What kind of choice do you want to make today? A choice to be wealthy. And as I move on, there are five key things that are life gifts that God has given everybody equally, and nobody will ever blame God. In my broadcast today, I want us to handle just one thing amongst the five choices that we need to make a healthy life, to enjoy the wealth. As I said, being born and dying is not upon us. But in between, we have to manage. And we have got to manage by making the healthy choice. So what are these five things that are so important to us? What are these five things that if we follow, then we are in the journey towards making a healthy choice that will eventually lead us to a wealthy end? Your health is your wealth. Welcome back to my channel, @CelestaMary_RN. I am a nurse educator and mentor. And today we are learning about how to be healthy so that we can be wealthy. Because Unless you make that choice, you cannot move on in this journey of being wealthy. The wealth that we so seek for needs to start by first choosing to be healthy. So, number one thing that is important, that is a gift. Remember, God has given us gifts, immeasurably gifts, many gifts in this life. Did you know that the number one gift that God has made so much available, so available to all of us, is sleep? The gift of sleep. Did you know that part of staying healthy is looking for time to rest? My question goes, I am a believer, so my Christian beliefs are very strong. And I believe the creator of the universe, according to the Bible, says that he created the world for 6 days. And on the seventh day, he rested. I've always asked myself, why was that part of God resting on the seventh day so important? Why is rest so important to the creator of the universe? The one who decides when you come to the world and the one who decides the day you go away. This big person who is omnipotent, omniscient, that all the religions talk about, that Quran talks about, Allah, the most high, the most loving, that the Bible talks about Yahweh, that still in the major books of our religious books, it says, for 6 days he created heaven and the earth, but on the seventh day he rested. Rest is so important as part of you generating wealth. I know as a nurse, we find so many people coming with many problems, all because they don't rest. Somebody tells you, I don't get time to rest. I only sleep for 2 hours. So you can imagine for 24 hours, somebody just sleeps for 2 hours out of 24. That the 22 hours, they were busy doing something. The God of the universe used 6 days, and the seventh day he decides to rest, the God of the universe. But we decide 24 hours, 22 hours, we are going to work. And the 2 hours, we are only going to rest. And that is why many problems have come into the world. Now we have different ranges. Over the years, scientists have discovered that rest is key for our bodies. For you to be healthy, for you to generate wealth, you have got to make a choice today to start resting. Biologically, the younger you are, the more you require the rest. Actually, me being a midwife, when a child is born, they sleep more. Do you know that one it just doesn't happen? They need to sleep more because their cells are still being generated. So they need more rest so that to lower the metabolic level so that their cells can generate and they can grow well. Scientists have also discovered that when children sleep more, they become more bright. Well, I'm not very old, neither am I very young. In our days, we used to go to school in primary school up to 12 midday. After 12 midday, so long as you are in class 3 and below, you go home to sleep. But what has happened to many or majority of us? Children as small as the ones who are in a play group, some are going, you used to go to school before the CBC came in, the 844 system. They could go to school even Saturday, Sunday, and I'm wondering, what is a 6-year-old going to study on a Saturday? And my husband made it a point upon himself that our children, none of them went to, he went to the principal of every school and told them, my son or daughter will not be coming to school on Saturday. They are resting. And believe you me, none of our children performed any less. Rest. We have neglected the basic things. That is why you have children who are suffering. Right now, the rate of cancer amongst children is overwhelming. Why? Because children are kept busy, they're not resting, they're not sleeping, they're ever on the screens, watching, playing games. We have got PSs and we buy for them as gifts as parents. Are we really helping our children? When I realized the truth that my path, I made a choice that I have to rest. Being a mother, all my children, I would force them to sleep whenever they refuse to sleep. And I know sometimes some things are tough choices you have to make as a parent or as a guardian. If you have a small child, they say, oh, my child never sleeps in the afternoon. Oh, my son or my daughter never rests. Did you know that if you are strict, first day of imposing this choice of making your children to rest will be hectic. I remember at one point in my life, my son had refused to go and sleep. And I took a stick and I punished him. And he cried. It is not corporal punishment. Remember, using a well-defined stick and explaining the procedure or the reasons why they are not able to, they are going to be punished if they don't go to sleep. And I gave him thorough strokes. And he cried. He cried very well. Threw a tramp. Remember, there's a small child, 2 years to 3 years. Rolled on the floor, did everything. In the end, I didn't budge. You have to go and sleep. So the tantrum went for like 30 minutes or so, but eventually they cried to their sleep. Then came another moment. The following day, I did not have to use the 2 or 3 strokes. I just had to use 1 stroke, and the tantrums had reduced. From the 30 minutes, it went to about 17 minutes. Third day, I didn't even use a stick. I just used I picked the stick and showed him like this. I want you to go and sleep. And they went and slept. And fourth day, they just knew automatically, I need to go and sleep. It's time for nap time. The role of rest in the life of our children cannot be overemphasized. Because as they grow, when they sleep, the growth hormone is stimulated when children sleep. And when growth hormone is stimulated, they're able to grow. Because they are very active, they use a lot of energy, they need to renew their energy. So what are some of the benefits of sleeping? Number 1, sleep helps your body or your body cells, your internal environment, to regenerate itself. Many sicknesses and diseases that we get nowadays can be avoided partly by going to sleep. So if you take a nap and sleep, the cells that had been broken down because of disease, if you had a malaria, you had a flu, the viruses that are in your body is trying to fight. When you sleep, you give the body time to fight those diseases. And by the time that rest has taken over your body, then you are able to do what? Your body is able to fight better and fight even minor ailments. It's a sad state of affair that somebody can have a flu and the flu can make them even be admitted and get IV fluids. It is a sad affair. Whereby long time ago you would get a flu because you're having enough rest and doing all the other things that I'll be talking about in my channel, the other 4 that can help you have a healthy body that will help you be more productive and more useful in your health. So scientists have also discovered that when you sleep, you are able to think well. Apart from your body regenerating itself, cells being renewed, you are able to think and reason well. Sleep helps you to be able to, it avoids, they're called psychiatric problems. You'll find before somebody goes into a psychiatric fit or they wanasema kulipuka, people will find themselves they're not sleeping, they become very irritable. People who don't sleep are very irritable. They are stressed up. When your body is so tense and so stressed up, organisms that are in your body are able to thrive. The bad bacteria, the cancer cells, thrive more when you are not resting. I I cannot overemphasize the role of rest to every person who wants to be wealthy. So, how can you sleep? I know there are periods in our life where we don't sleep or we have little time for sleep. But ideally, children, the smaller they are, they sleep longer. Some sleep even for 20 hours. A school-going child, PP1, PP2, primary school level, sleep for 8 to 9 hours. It's okay. Let them have the rest, uninterrupted sleep. At adolescence, 8 hours is okay. And as you grow older, it becomes less, but 7 hours is the normal ideal time. 6 to 7 hours for an adult person like me. How can you create time to rest? You have to be so deliberate that even if you're doing your exams, the examination period is only for a while. If you have started a business, yes, the business might require you to be labor intensive. So during the initial moment, you will have to strain a lot. Maybe you might sleep for 3 hours or so, for 5 hours, sorry. But you need to create time. Most of the pastors, you'll find them having programs from Monday to Monday, prayers, crusade, all that. They don't create time to rest. And that is why we are losing most of our clergy people to diseases that are non-communicable. Hypertension, cardiac diseases, cancer is taking most people because one aspect of health has been neglected. My dear, we need to make conscious decisions to start resting. God gives everybody 24 hours. And in your 24 hours, you need to create time. 8 hours to work, 8 hours to rest, and 8 hours to be more productive. And when I say productive, I do not mean doing things that do not generate health and wealth. In summary, how can you live a healthy life? Because your health will make you generate wealth. Your health is your wealth, and you have to start taking conscious time. You have to start taking time to concentrate on your health and your well-being. If at all you have 10 years dream, 20 years dream, you want to see your children and your grandchildren, you have got to make your health key. And it's a conscious choice that you make now, today, if you have not made it. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Celesta Mary _RN. I'm your nurse educator. I'm your nurse mentor. And I'm talking about things that can make you have a wealthy life. You have got to concentrate on your health. And the first key thing about your health is resting. Take resting to be very, very important. Don't underestimate rest. The Jewish, or in Israel, Israel contributes to 45% of the economy of the whole world. 45% of the economy of the whole world is contributed by Israel or the Jewish people all over the world. And the Jewish have one principle. 6 days they will work. On the 7th day, they will rest. Their animals and everything else that they have. And I say I'm a Christian, and I'm not from I'm not from a religious background where I say you have to rest on Saturday. No, rest has to be rest. Whichever day, for some people, for a pastor, telling a pastor to rest on Saturday, it does not make sense. Telling me a nurse to rest on Saturday will not make sense because I work on shifts. There are days I'm on shift on Saturday, there are days I'm on shift on Sunday, but I create in all those days time to rest. We have to take conscious choices, to make conscious choices to this generation of ours and to the generation that is coming, and rest. Maximum 6 to 7 hours. You have got to make sure that every day, when 24 hours have elapsed, 6 to 8 hours of your time you are spending resting. And rest does not mean watching movies. Means totally, your body, you put it at a standstill, you shut down. And the best way to shut down is to lie down and close your eyes and sleep. So we are going to be learning, how can you make our sleep better? How can you sleep? Maybe you could be having a medical condition that is making you not to sleep. There are people who are using drugs to sleep. Those are now different conditions, health conditions that you can be assisted by your doctor as you visit the hospital. But I'm talking about, you have no health condition that is stopping you from sleeping. You just need to make a conscious decision and sleep. You together with your family. Thank you very much for listening to me today. I am your host, Celesta Mary _RN. Your health is your health. This week and the coming weeks, make a conscious decision to start resting. If your children are not resting, start making your children to rest, because you are helping them. You're helping them to regenerate their cells. You're helping your body to regenerate itself. You're giving yourself time for you to think sharply. You're avoiding stress and being irritable. And when you're irritable, your cells are irritable inside, and diseases can now start coming in, because diseases like places where there is a lot of stress, where there's tension. That is why you need your tool to relax. So there are very many ways of relaxing, many ways of resting, but make a conscious decision to rest, because the God who started your life and who will end your life rested. With all that, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to all. Please subscribe, like my channel, and share this podcast. Please share, 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 share. We need to spread this word, and we need to teach people that rest is very important. So promise yourself that beginning today, beginning now, you will create time to rest, you and your family. Thank you very much, and have a good evening, have a good night, and have a good morning wherever you are.